The most important part about a sales script or about any sales process whatsoever is understanding the difference between persuading and convincing, right? Has anyone had a sales process that they've been in that you can just tell the salesperson is just trying a little too hard, and it's like really frustrating? They're really pushing for a sale, and maybe it's for a product that you don't even want. Give me a wave if that's ever happened to you. So the reason that happens is because they are trying to convince you to buy rather than persuade you to buy. The difference between convincing and persuading, I say this all the time, convincing is when I'm trying to get you to take an action for my reasons, right? Because I need to make money or because I want to get a sale, right? Persuading is where I help you make a decision for your reasons, right? I figure out what are your reasons that you need the product or the service that I have to sell, and I help you understand why I am the best option or the best chance you have at achieving that outcome, right? So it's two different things, right? The first one is talking, and the second one is listening, right? There's a saying in sales. I want you to write this down. Everybody writes this down. He who talks the most makes the least, right? That's true for sales. It's always true for sales because you should spend more time listening than you should talking. Now, how do you do that? You do that by asking really, really good questions, right? So the most important part of the sales process is actually the fact-finding part. And that's where you're asking them questions, right? Now, there's different types of fact-finding questions. There's needs-based questions and there's behaviors-based questions. And it's important that you ask needs-based questions and also behavior-based questions, right? Now, there's some mistakes that people make during the fact-finding process, right? You have to understand the purpose of the fact-finding process is to ask them lots of questions so that you can learn about their situation, right? And the other thing is you want to learn how they make decisions. That's really, really important. You want to learn how they make decisions because everybody makes decisions differently. And this is a very big decision in their life. So you have to learn how they make decisions. You also have to figure out how can you justify your price or your fee, right? And that's something that you'll use later in the actual pitch. And the thing to remember also is that you're going to ask hard questions. You don't want to ask softball questions. You want to ask hard questions. But when you ask hard questions will build trust, right? Because people tell their problems to people that they trust. And the more that people tell their problems to you, the more they begin to trust you, right? So there's some really big mistakes that we have to make sure that you don't make during the fact-finding question. The first mistake is the biggest mistake is not listening to what the person is actually saying. It doesn't make you feel like this is somebody that has my best interest in mind, right? So it's super important that you're not thinking about the next question, right? You're just listening to what they have to say and you're making sure that they feel heard, right? Another huge mistake is not digging, right? So you're going, like I said, you have to ask some difficult questions sometimes to find out these answers. But once you ask these questions, then you actually get what you need. But sometimes you don't get enough. Sometimes if you don't dig and ask hard questions, that's a big mistake. Another mistake is not finding out what they actually value, right? Now there's something called a dominant buying motive, right? And that's what is the actual motivation for what's going to get them to hire you, right? And I always talk about this all the time. I always say, there's the airplane ride and there's the resort. The resort is the dominant buying motive. What is the thing what is the thing that they actually want, right? Because again, nobody wants your service. They don't want a bankruptcy. They don't want to sue their insurance company. They don't want a divorce. They don't want, an estate plan, but they do want, peace of mind that if they pass away, their kids are going to be taken care of. They want their medical bills paid and they want to get their health back. They want, to not spend their entire, they don't want to waste 10 years not knowing their child because they can't get child custody, right? Those are the things that they actually want. And that's their dominant buying motive, right? So if you don't if you don't discover what they value, then you're going to miss out on that, and you're going to really have a difficult time getting the close, right? The last mistake is not discovering how they make decisions. And this is very, very important, because when people make decisions that are financially based, you've got to understand that not everyone makes decisions in the same way, and they don't make decisions the same way that you make decisions, right? And you also have to understand, a lot of people forget this, that hiring a lawyer for a lot of people is a very scary experience. Most people have never hired a lawyer. Most people, usually a lawyer does not mean good news, so usually something bad has happened and they need a lawyer, right? So they're stressed out, they're frustrated, they're scared. Anything you can do to alleviate those emotions, you're immediately going to put them in a better place and make it much more likely that they're going to hire your law firm.